Hi, guys. Welcome to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole, and I'm with a very special guest today, Brandon, my best friend. Brandon, say hi.
Hey, everybody.
So, what I want to talk about today is breaking from the norm and following your passion.
Yeah, this is a very special topic for me because, I don't know about most other millennials, but my father and mother had the whole 9 to 5 job growing up in that office world where, you go to school, you come home, they come home around dinner, they're gone all day. And that was just kind of after college, I was like basically the route that I was envisioning for myself for some reason, not because I was passionate about it or because I necessarily wanted to do that. It was just the route I was supposed to go. And I don't know, like one day in like my mid-20s, I woke up and I was like, why am I doing this? Why, like, is this something I have to be doing? There are people like you, like we're super close, and you followed your passion immediately, I feel like.
No, that's not true.
No?
No. Oh my God.
Did you have a real girl
What?
job?
Yes.
I didn't know this.
And that's why we can talk about it, and that's why I can like relate to you.
Wait,
because
this
I'm
is news
seeing-
to me.
Yes.
What did
'cause,
you
like-
do?
Who are you?
You were in an office.
He's like, no, imagine me in an
Pantsuit.
office. It's so crazy. Yeah, no, I was. But I did the same thing. Like, I think after college, everybody feels that pressure to like get a job right away because you're seeing everybody else around you get jobs, and everybody's like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And then when I graduated, I was like, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I took well, first I actually worked as in fashion, and I was like an assistant. I thought that I wanted to go that route. And then I didn't really like love that, but I love the sales aspect of it. So I started working in sales, and I worked at Equinox as a sales
Oh, I did know that.
sales.
I
Yeah,
did
you
know
knew
that. I
that.
knew
So
that.
I worked like in an office, but I was never like happy. I wasn't like, I love this. Like,
I think we have to pause here and just address the fact that, obviously the ideal situation for anybody is to do what they love.
Yes.
But
And
most people, they graduate college with some like hefty financial obligations that they
Yeah.
have to take care of. So the quickest way to fulfill those usually is an office job with, a good base salary and benefits and a bonus or whatever. And I think we're at a cool point in our lives, and anybody who's, watching this who is also late 20s, we have a financial stability at this point, and now we kind of have the luxury to start pursuing what we want to do rather than what we have to do to check a box or to pay a bill or whatever.
Right.
And, obviously everyone's situation is different, but I think a lot of people fall into a cycle or a hole where it's like, okay, this has been my life since I graduated college. It was what I'm comfortable with.
Right.
I'm paying bills. I'm never stressed about, not being able to get rent or whatever because I have that hourly or 9 to 5 job with a salary, right? But it's important, especially when we're, getting to this age. I'm single, you're single, we don't have kids, we don't really have any obligations to tie us down like that. Now's the time that you are able to be a little selfish, right? And I think that's kind of the route that I took, that you were, a part of. You were with me through that whole transition.
I think what he just said was so important. Everybody's situation is different. And I think like we are so lucky to be in the position that we are in. And I'm so lucky that I never had debt graduating college. And like, I always knew that if I really was in a bad position, like my parents could, lend me some money, or, if I needed them to help me with rent. And thank God I never had to. I always made it work. But like I did have that support. So, and not everybody has that, but I do think like if you're at a point and you have a steady income and you're not really happy with your career, but you have a good job or whatever it is, it's like you do get stuck in that cycle of like, well, this is safe and this is secure, but am I happy? And I think it's really hard to make that leap of like going from that financial security, having that like salary coming in every month, to then being like, well, I kind of want to follow my passion, but that means insecurity. That means people are then around me, are going to judge me.
You're vulnerable. You're
Exactly.
setting yourself up for potential failure.
Yes.
And that's like anything, but
Yes.
it's a bit scarier when like a job is,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, and this is a rabbit hole we can go down, but like in our culture, really a job is your life like it defines you. First question you're asked
wish
when
it
you meet,
didn't.
and you know what? This is actually funny because so before I went into real estate. That's the career path change that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Before I did that, I worked for an insurance company, a massive insurance company doing injury claims, which for a period of time was interesting. But, and this is going to sound crazy, but I mean, you know me. The reason that I made the decision to switch originally is because when I would meet new people, one of the first questions they ask you is, what do you do? What do you do? And I hated the way I have an insurance. I hated the way that sounded. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it was like, it sounds so narcissistic or shallow or whatever because, you know, that's what kind of made me snap out of it, that I'm not happy with this, is how I thought other people perceived what I was doing, you know?
I mean, there's some people who might be passionate about your job and what you did.
No, right. But
you were just like, I don't.
My dad loved it. He was like, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was it was his first job out of college, right? And he just retired 2 years ago, so it was like 37 years he was with this company. He loved it, and I was like, I'm my dad's son. We're pretty similar. I'm just gonna follow in his footsteps because
we all do that,
right. And you don't have to.
Our parents too. It's really hard now. I think like our generation where there's so many other avenues where. You know, I think for them, it was just so normal. You graduate school, you get that job, and then you stay there for your entire life. My mom was a pharmacist her entire life. And I don't think that was necessarily the route that she wanted to go down, but that's the route that she was put on. And then it was like, well, this is my job. This is me. Like, this is my career. There was no other options to, like, do a podcast. This is why it was so hard for me. I think the first, like, kind of hurdle getting over was when you're switching from doing like the classic 9 to 5 or whatever you want to switch to is like the judgment from other people and the support you're not going to get from everybody. People are not just going to be like, because people will project onto you, and if it makes them feel uncomfortable, they're going to be like, wow, you're going to do that, like, oh my god, like that sounds like whatever, and it puts ideas in your head where you're like, oh my god, like, is this dumb? Am I not going to be successful? Which you always run that risk. But I remember when I always knew like I was not meant to sit behind a desk. Like, first of all, I just like,
see, I disagree. I feel like that's exactly where you belong.
You're like, actually go behind a desk right now. I was always switching jobs. I don't think I ever stayed at a job for longer than 9 months. I was always like quitting. I just couldn't sit still. I felt like I was so unfulfilled. So I quit my job with literally no idea what I wanted to do. And then like TikTok became a thing and I started like making them out of boredom. Yeah. And then it kind of started to work, and then when it started to work, I kind of was like, oh, maybe I could do something with this. I was pretending to job hunt, like I was like job hunting, but I was like self-sabotaging too. I like wasn't showing up to interviews. I was doing it, but I was like half-assing it because I just didn't want it to work.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's so interesting because you're saying half-ass. I think and it wasn't self-sabotage. I think you knew where you wanted to go. And you were like, I have to go through these motions because what I'm supposed to do. Exactly. It's what I've been told to do. It's what's right. Yeah. Right. But then.
Yeah. Because I was like, I get, things from my mom. Like, are you applying for jobs? And then I remember one day she looked at me and she goes, Nicole, when are you going to get a real job? And this was when I was like well into my TikTok career. Like, and she still was not believing in me. Yeah. And to hear that from your own mother, I was like.
That's one of my favorite terms, by the way.
What?
Real job.
A real
What's
job.
a real job?
That's why I was like,
let's talk about what a job is, right? Like a job is something you do to get paid so you can do other things that you like or to take care of necessity, right? Yeah. What makes an office job more real than this job, which also pays you, right? Like that's what kind of like, and we're at a turning point, right? And it sounds like all cliche, like, oh, things are changing, whatever. But I think that's the route that we need to like take this conversation is like is the strength that I found anyway in my ability to leap from real job to passion project almost was just kind of realigning the way that I viewed that. Right. And like, why can't I be happy about what I'm doing while also making money?
That's why I was like, Mom, I don't have to be miserable to make money, right?
Is that what a real job is to our parents? Like, if you have to feel like you are unhappy all the time, like reporting to the man, doing something you don't like because hey, it's work. Yeah, it's work.
Exactly.
And that's not the case. I don't think.
Let's just talk about somebody who wants to just switch careers in general. Yeah. If they want to go from being, working at a bank to working as an accountant. That's still a major career shift. You're changing your entire life. Yeah. The amount of like courage it takes to do something like that. And for me, when I was switching jobs, I had to learn to believe in myself, first of all, and trust myself. And I had to kind of silence everybody around me who didn't believe in me, who, you know, was saying like, oh, well, what if this, or what if it doesn't work out, or all these things. And I was just kind of like, I need to trust my gut, and I need to follow my passion. And I believe that if I follow that, like, it will land me in the right position, and money will follow passion.
Yes.
And I wasn't always financially stable. I wasn't making a lot of money. You know, like, I was just doing what made me happy and living on a prayer. Like, I was like, let's see what happens. And like, you know, worst case scenario, I'm already in my worst case scenario. I'm already making like $0. Like, if anything, I can only go up from here. And
bare minimum, you're happier.
Right.
At the end. Like, that's, you know.
And I was happier, and I was like, I will figure it out. But like, let's just see where this takes me. Not being afraid to tell people like, I don't have a job right now. Like, I remember like when people would be like, so what do you do? I'd be like, nothing. Nothing. Like, I mean,
okay, let's you are the perfect person to make a career change like that because of your confidence, and you, I mean, you don't, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you don't care what other people really think about you.
Of course I do. I'm a human.
But not in that sense. Like, you were able to silence those things. I was the opposite. I was so I was unhappy at that job for probably 2 or 3 years. Like, knowing the career path I wanted to take. I had it pictured already. I knew what brokerage I wanted to work for. I was talking to friends of mine who were in the business, trying to learn everything on the side. But I wouldn't take that leap because I was worried about what other people would think. Or I was, my issue was, whenever I told somebody that I was interested in moving from insurance to real estate, oh my God, Brandon, you're going to be perfect at that. That is what you were made to do, right? And for some reason, I was like, oh, they're just, you know, they're blowing smoke up my ass. Like, whatever. Like, they're just trying to be nice. They call it's imposter syndrome, which is like, that's what it's called. Like, you and I'd never met somebody. I had the opposite issue, right? Like, I'd never met somebody who ever had any kind of doubt that I was going to be successful in there, except for myself. Right. Like, I was like, there's just no way. Like, it's too good to be true. I don't deserve that type of thing, you know? And it wasn't until I actually started listening to those people, because no one gives a compliment for free. You have to take those things seriously, because I mean, no one's just trying to be nice, especially when you're making that career change. Like you said, people are always going to be like, are you sure? Is that really the route you want to go? Like your mom saying, when are you going to get a real job? Whatever. It was when I started taking those things seriously and saying, okay, you know what? This is the confidence that I needed to move forward. It's everybody else's input that's going to push me in that direction. And once I did that and just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go and do this. That's when it took off. I stopped listening to my own voice and started listening to the support around me.
That's so
literally,
crazy.
Because I already decided, like in my own head, I decided this is the route I wanted to go years ago. And that wasn't working. I was still at that company, you know? The minute I started listening to other people is when it took a turn, which is kind of the opposite of what we're saying, the opposite thing.
No, we are saying the opposite
which
thing.
is cool.
Because you said to me, you were like, what you said, if 3 people. What was it? Can you say it again? Because I loved this. If
you're getting the same compliment or the same positive message from 3 people, the same, not like not something general like, oh, you're gonna be great at that, but if someone sits you down and gives you positive feedback about something specific you want to do, I think once you get to that 3rd person, it's time to start listening to that message and not the voice in your own head, because this is one voice and you're your own worst critic. Once you get 3 stamps of approval from outside, so not your mom, not your brother, like people in the world. One of my voices was a former coworker of mine. You can rely on other people's confidence in you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like take that and ride with it. But at the end of the day, like your confidence, it's like is what got you to where you are right now. Like you needed a little push, and we all do. Like even starting this podcast, like I wanted to start this podcast a year ago. I talked about it for a year. Livy, you guys know Livy, came into my life where she was like, you want this? Go do it. Go sit in front of a mic and do it. Yeah. And like,
what's the worst that can happen?
She was so tired of me being like, I'm going to start here. She was like, give me a date right now and then just go to the podcast studio. She was like sick of me talking about it. And she's like, just do it. And I think like once you start doing whatever it is that you want to do, like take like a little step to it. Like if you're switching careers, you don't have to go from like quitting my job, all right, jumping into that thing right away. It's like plant little seeds. You know, I was making TikToks. I was still doing other things on the side. I was kind of like already becoming this person that I wanted to be. Yeah. While also not being that person. Like I was posting videos as if I had 1 million followers. And I would get like 10
Good
views and like 1 like, but I was like, I'm a star.
10 viewers. Hey guys, it's
like,
me
no,
again.
I was like, so if anybody was wondering like what I was wearing today, and they're like, we don't care. But eventually they did, and it worked out. So like, you really have to just, assume the role before you have it.
Yeah.
Real estate can be scary because you actually have to like learn.
It's terrifying.
Things.
Well, you learn things, and it's also it's completely up to you.
Yeah,
it's like a 100% commission job in most cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and that's scary. There's no financial security in real estate. Like, I don't care how big your deals are. Mm-hmm. You're going to adjust your lifestyle to, whatever deals you're closing, and they're not going to, it's not guaranteed. I want to go back to what you said, because you said something interesting that resonated with me. You said something like, it's a process. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. And I think either that deters people from making that jump, or once you do make the jump, if it's like, well, shit, I'm not there yet.
Oh yeah.
They get discouraged. And for me, like, part of, becoming a real estate agent is studying for the exam. You have to take this like long course online, and then you have to take the exam after that. And I'll be honest with you, like, I think I finished the course in like April, and I didn't take my exam until June. And I was like, you were like applying for jobs. I was like, Dad, I'm studying for the exam. And if he's watching this, he's going to kill me. But I was like, I didn't want to take it.
You were so scared to fail.
I was so scared to fail. Not because it meant it was over for me, because if you fail the real estate exam, you take it like 3 days later. If you fail that one, you take it 3, like it's not a big deal. Yeah. My problem was all the support I was getting from outside. I was almost more afraid to like disappoint those people, and prove myself right. Like, you can't do this. This is not for you. And everybody else was like, oh my God, you're going to crush it. And if I failed the exam, I'm like, well, all those people who like gave me that confidence and had all the confidence in me, now I've let them down when really they don't give a shit. Oh my God, no. If
like, you failed, I would have been like, okay, slay. Like, let's get back to the books and take it again.
It really is a problem. Any change in life. And I mean, I was watching a show recently. It's called Lessons in Chemistry. It's on Apple TV. It's fantastic. She's a chemist is basically a thing. And she said something like, human beings are chemically designed to change. Yeah. Always. That's like what you're supposed to do. And when you don't make changes, you're not doing what the human existence is intended for, right? Because literally like
evolve.
Like a chemical reaction, like we're all made up of like atoms and I'm not a science guy, but chemical reactions and how like chemistry operates and stuff is always about change. That's what it is. It's never staying still. Mm-hmm. And so we are made up of things that are constantly supposed to be changing, and we are constantly supposed to be changing. Once you reach like a plateau, you've already failed. That's how I look at it. When you're like, even when you get to retirement, you should be going for the next thing. What's your next hobby? Where, like, do you want to, own real estate in another country, go on trips? Are you going to become a traveler? Do you want to take up bird watching? I don't know. Yeah. You have to change, or else what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Is that like too bold to say? No, I feel like that's kind of the human existence.
Always should be building towards something or trying to like be better. Like, at what point did you know that it was time for you to like make a change and be like, okay, I'm doing well at this job? Like, you were in a good position. Yep. Like, at what point were you just like, I need to change something?
Unfortunately, jobs take up most of your life, right? Mm-hmm. At this age anyway. It's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And for those 40 hours, I did not care about what I was doing, what I was saying, what I was working on, even like, I was excited to get like the opportunity to get a promotion, right? And I'm be working towards that interview. And I'm like, for what? Like, I don't care about this. And that's when I kind of realized like, it's time for something else. Yeah. It's when that's what it is. Like, if you don't have a passion for what you do, and I mean, Equinox sales, right? You'd be the perfect salesperson. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that you want to sit behind a desk, but at least you cared. Yeah. I'm assuming. Yeah. Right? Like, you had some kind. I did not care at all. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what am I doing this for? It's certainly not for me. So what is it for? And it came down to like what I thought I was supposed to do. But according to who? Because my dad never sat me down and said, listen, son, you're going to be working for this company for the rest of your life just like I did. I don't know why he became Southern, because he's not.
But,
I've met your dad. He does not sound like it was to my own detriment, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, why did I do it? Because he's never given me the pressure. No one's given me the pressure to do that. I just kind of was like, was it because it was easy? I don't know. I don't think of myself as someone who takes the easy route for things. So I don't know what it is. I think, I mean, this was such a huge learning experience for me. And I don't want to make this podcast like, oh, Brandon's story. I think it's something that, well, I think that everybody can learn from that. It's something that we hear a lot. People who are stuck in a job where they have a passion that they want to pursue, but they feel like they can't. And I don't know what to say to make people think that they can, but my advice just kind of like.
What would be your advice?
If you have a passion and for some reason you're not exploring that passion, it's for one of two reasons. I think it boils down to either you don't have support from outside sources or you don't have support from inside yourself. Pick which one is the louder voice and rely on the opposite to silence that voice. Mine was self-doubt. So I was like, okay, that's not getting me anywhere. That's putting me in a position that I don't like, this 9-to-5 where I'm unhappy. And I know that. Silence that voice. Don't pay attention because it doesn't matter. It's not getting you anywhere. Yeah. And all these other people on the outside who are giving you the confidence that you're lacking in yourself, rely on them because at least they're more productive than you in this goal. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the minute I did that, everything changed.
Yeah, you started to believe in yourself. You started to see what other people were seeing.
Yeah.
For me, it was I started to get all this validation from outside people finally, and my followers and stuff, and they kind of supported my career, and I was making it happen for myself. And now it's I'm at a point, and you haven't experienced this yet, but at some point you will fail or feel like you're failing at what you're doing. You're like, what?
Well, shit.
But there's
you're right.
gonna be moments of doubt where you're just oh my God, I haven't gotten, I haven't sold a house in this amount of time. Yeah. Or this client was really unhappy with me. And then you're kind of that self-doubt starts to trickle in a little bit. And then you have to rely on the fact that no, this is what I want to do. I'm really passionate about
100%.
This. And I'm at a weird point in my career where it's I was getting so much validation from followers and everybody like that. And then from my friends, you guys, you always are oh, my friend's a big deal. And it's so funny because for me, I'm no, I'm not. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And as of right now, it's I actually am losing followers every single day.
Which one of you is it? What do you mean?
I'm seeing my numbers go down as I'm posting and I'm what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, you're in a tricky spot, right? Because your career path here, when it's good, it's great because you're getting that extra validation from, however many followers you have or however many comments you get. That's the positivity. But when it's negative, that's the negativity. It's on such a grand scale.
Right.
How do you cope with it? I'm so interested because I'm not in that realm at all.
It's just at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that what I'm doing, what I'm posting, this is my passion. And I just have to love what I'm producing and posting no matter what anybody says. I have to put out that video and stand by that video and love it. And I don't care if it gets 10 likes or 1,000 likes. I have to go back to my roots of why I started posting in general. It was I used to post and not give a fuck and get 10 likes. And I was that was a good one. That was a good one. And now it's oh, that didn't get 20K views. What the heck? Or this is not getting the comments that I used to get. Or I have to just remember that I am posting for me and following my passion, and I'm changing too. And people may have started following me when I first started posting, or they may have followed me off of a video, a funny video, maybe the one that I posted with you or something. And they were oh, this is going to be a page filled with just this or this. You're either growing with me or I outgrew you or you outgrew me. And if you don't, support the content that I'm posting, then unfollow me. And it has nothing to do with me. I'm just evolving and changing. And if you don't like me because I'm not being messy and sharing my crazy dating stories anymore, then you're not going to like my content that's going to come in a year or two.
Because you're not creating content for others. You're creating content for you. And if you can help other people along the way or entertain someone along the way, or that's great. That's a bonus.
And honestly, it's showing that I'm doing something good. I'm changing. Because if I was the same person that I was 2 years ago when I first started posting, I'd be horrified. Yeah. I was am I still talking about this situationship? Am I still doing this? You're not always gonna have that positive reinforcement. And there's gonna come times where you switch and you follow your passion and you fail at it. or people don't support you, or you're going to be filled with that self-doubt again. And the only thing that keeps you going is like, you need to believe in yourself.
You learn from the failures.
Yes.
You don't learn from the success because that makes you complacent, honestly. Right. Success is great and that's what you work towards, right? But then once you've made one successful move, or you got to move on to the next one. And if and if you fail, you don't look at that as like a you suck, give up. You got to figure out what went wrong.
Exactly.
Fix it. And move forward, which is so basic. Like,
I know.
The fact that we're even talking, like, this is what people, but not hard. Enough people, like it's something that we're taught when we're like little kids, right? And it's something that's like very cliche and talked about all the time, but no one listens to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm here giving this advice, and I was giving the same advice to my friend who wanted to switch into interior design the same time that I was switching into real estate. I'm on the phone with her for 3 hours talking, like, listen, you're not happy. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not even taking my own advice. No,
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
so easy to like give other people advice and it has nothing to do with you because you're safe. People who are like going on like a more creative path or just like self-starters or entrepreneurs, it's a scary space because I know for me as well, you start to compare yourself to other people and their success and like what's happening for them. And it could be people who've been in the space for longer than you, or people who've just entered the space and are doing really well. And you're like, well, why is that not happening for me? Like, I remember when Alex Earl started to blow up. I lost my shit. I was spiraling because it was like, she lives in Miami. She's doing Get Ready With Me's. I was like checking her page every day like a psychopath. I was like, she was at 300K yesterday. Now she's at 400K. And I was like, how is she doing it? What does she have that I don't have? Like, I was ready to give up on my career. I was just like, it's done now. Like, it's over for me. I think it's so important to remember, like, there's enough space for everybody to be successful and everybody's path is going to be different.
Yeah.
That was such a lesson for me to sit here and not like be jealous of what was happening for her, but be like, wow, that's amazing. I had to like take a step back and be like, I should admire her and I should like want that for myself too.
Right.
And like see that for myself because I'm seeing it for her. I'm like, of course it would happen for her. Where it's like, wait, it could like also happen for me.
But
you know?
do you hear yourself though? Because that's a really good way of looking at it. Because if you looked at Alex Earl and you know, oh, well, you know, she's doing that. She's doing basically everything I'm doing, but she's got, and then you just, I'm done.
How terrible is that?
That's what I mean. Like there, in that case, there isn't enough room for everybody, but you have the mindset, you have the passion, and you realize, listen, I can do my thing. She can do her thing. And it's not a competition.
No, it's not
a competition. Like, it's a little more difficult in your situation, I think, because it's not about like your production from like a product level or like how many houses you sell or like, you know, how much money you bring into your company per year. It's like my personality is my personality 400,000 followers or is it 10 million followers? You know what I mean? Like how good am I? You know, the way that you have approached your career path and the way that you deal with, you know, this specific field that you're in is so admirable. Aww, seriously, no, like because I could never do it. One bad comment on her TikTok of me, and I'm in bed for a day.
Second job is scrolling through my TikTok and reading the comments, screenshotting, circling them, sending them to me, be like, what's this one about? Or I liked this one. Or he'll be like, did you hear they think I'm Ben Affleck?
Literally made the TikTok just to track. Which is crazy, which is why I'm not doing what you do because I could never deal with that. And that's why I think it's because it's something that I would love to do. Like I think that's like a fun thing. I like these cameras. It's really fun for me.
Brandon switches career again. He's a TikToker.
Nah, I can't do this. So be nice to me in the comments on this one.
Or else Brandon will never come back
it's
on.
Okay. This is
Well, I just want to say, because you just gave me a compliment, so this is not a fake compliment, but like I'm really proud of you. Your hard work paid off.
I quit my job a year ago until 3 weeks ago. Like I did not make $1 for a year.
Let's get close.
Like that's scary. That's scary. Yeah. I just think it's really important. If I'm assuming that your viewership is like kind of our peer age group, now is the time that you need to make these decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to, what you don't want to do is be, 50 years old and then wish you could have done something sooner. Nothing's impossible, obviously, but the point I'm trying to make, and obviously you can't apply to everybody, now's the time to take the jump because it's not going to get easier. That should give you enough confidence.
Yeah.
This is the easiest. If you're worried, if you think it's going to be hard, this is the easiest time. So do it today.
Start right now. Leave this podcast.
Yeah. Hang up. We're done.
Go do it. Go follow your passion. I just want everybody to be happy. Like, I hate when people look at, comment on my TikToks or, like, my life, and they're like, I wish I had your life, or I wish, like, I could do what you're doing. And it's like, you can. Yeah. I don't have a special thing happening inside me that you don't have. Like, I don't have something, that you can't also have. Like, there's nothing, I wasn't born with this, like, she's going to be a TikToker. It's like, I made it happen for myself. If I did not start posting stupid videos, I would have never gotten to where I wanted to be.
Yeah. I
had to put myself out there and then trust in myself, and like it's a little bit of luck, I guess, on TikTok, like views and stuff like that, but it's like to make it a career is different than like getting views on like a video. You know what I mean? If I can change one person's life or like say something that resonates with somebody to like make a change, whether it be like they go for a walk or they break up with their boyfriend or they like feel better about a friendship breakup, it's like my job is done there.
I mean, you've changed my life. Serious? No, I am not.
Don't gas me.
No, I'm serious. Like, I mean, just the way that like I approach every day now is a little bit different.
Oh, he's learning manifesting. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about us going on key walks.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like, like something so little as like physical activity isn't really in my life, but whenever you're staying with me, it's like we're constantly doing stuff, and you've had a positive impact on me for sure. So, boom.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for joining me. And you have, like, I don't know, do you want to plug yourself if anybody needs a house?
Plug me.
Or an apartment?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm even allowed to put like.
Oh, I don't know. Are you?
You can tag my Instagram and you can find me on there. But I've been here for 5 years. It's kind of my thing. So
that's true.
Hit me up. I'd love to help you.
Really well.
Miami area.
Thanks, bye, guys. Love you. Kiss the camera. Oh, wait. Did I even kiss? I don't even know.
That's your camera. This is mine.